guys, it's Alicia and today I want to share with you my top January reads. Okay, the first book I want to talk about is Say You Love Me by Johanna Lindsey. This is the 5th book in the Mallory Anderson series, and I've loved every single book in the series. They're all amazing. This one, if I was going to rank it, I would probably say it was my least favorite of the 5, but it was still great. So that goes to show you how wonderful I think the previous ones are. Okay, so the heroine of the story, her name's Kelsey, and her parents have died, so she has to move in with her last living relatives, which is her aunt and her uncle, and she lives there with her younger sister, and her uncle lost his job and can't find a new job, so they're about to be destitute on the streets. And so her uncle kind of suggests, oh, why don't you become some rich guy's mistress and they'll pay you money and then we won't be on the streets, your little sister won't be on the streets. So she really does not want to do this, but she agrees because she feels like she has no other option. So Derek Mallory is the hero of the story, and he kind of steps in and saves her from being auctioned off to this horrible guy. And yeah, the story is just kind of about their love story. And while the ending was really dark, yeah, normally these romance novels, they're going to end with happily ever after. They have to if they're a romance novel. But yeah, it was dark there towards the end, and I think that's why, of the 5 books so far in the series, it was my least favorite. But like I said, it was still great, still a really good read. Okay, the next book I want to talk about is Little Fires Everywhere by Celeste. This was actually the book club I'm part of. This was their choice, their selection. So I have to say, it's not a book I would ever have chosen for myself, but I'm really happy I read it because it was a really enjoyable read. I have to say though, it was a really weird experience because I didn't know what the story was about until 60% into the book, and that's never happened before. Normally you have an idea what the story's about, and actually the people in my book club really enjoyed that. They were like, I like not knowing where it was going, and for me I was kind of frustrated because I just wanted to know what it was about. But yeah, it's a good book. It follows these 2 families and kind of how they affect each other's lives and what changes they make in each other's lives. It was kind of, at the beginning I kind of thought it was the grass is greener on the other side book, but it really is a lot deeper than that. You have this family, the Richardson family, and you have this other single mother. Her name's Mia and her daughter's Pearl, and they just moved into the neighborhood. It's a small suburban neighborhood, and I think it takes place in 1997. And the Richardson family, it's their home that they're renting out to Mia and her daughter. And so that's kind of how the connection initially starts. But yeah, they just become so much a part of each other's lives. I think the author did a good job of kind of going back to the past and telling those little stories and kind of filling in the blanks of where you are in the present day and why these things are happening. And yeah, it's definitely, the author, a brilliant writer. It's great. This book, the ending kind of left me wanting more, and I guess that's a good thing, but for me it's frustrating because it is a standalone book, I believe, so probably not going to get any more. But yeah, it was still really good. Okay, the next book I want to talk about is Blood Fury by J.R. Ward. I've read all of the Black Dagger Brotherhood books. I think this was the 3rd one in the Black Dagger Legacy series, so it's kind of the new crop of kids that are coming in fighting with the Brotherhood. And I loved it. It was great. It was a great addition to the series. So this book tells the story of 2 different couples. There's Peyton and Novo, and Ruin and Saxon. So they both get their love stories in this book. And I really liked Peyton and Novo because it was kind of like a, he's on the rich side and she's not, and so it's kind of opposites attract. But I really enjoyed their story, And I'm also very glad that Saxon got his love story, because he was with Blay in one of the previous books, and so he finally gets his happily ever after. I really enjoyed it. Okay, the next book was actually a reread for me. It was Nobody's Baby But Mine by Susan Elizabeth Phillips. Yeah, I loved this book the first time I read it. It was years ago, but I remember loving it. And then actually, I was on a message board for like readers, and someone brought up, oh, does anybody remember that scene in Nobody's Baby But Mine when the heroine kind of does something to the hero's cereal? And it's a really funny scene. And I remember it, I was like, oh, I should read that again, because I did love that scene. I love that book. And reading it again, it just solidified my love for it even more. It's a really funny story. You have Dr. Jane Darlington, and she's a physicist, and you have Cal Bonner, and he's a star quarterback, like one of the best in the league. And so she wants a baby desperately, but she's afraid that, kind of because she got picked on as a child because she was really smart, she's afraid her child's going to get picked on. And I mean, she was even like verbally abused by her dad because I guess she was different. And so she wants to pick a father for her child that is not smart, like just a jock. And so she's like, oh, a quarterback, he must be kind of dumb. And so she kind of sets it up to where she gets pregnant with his kid, and she doesn't want him to even know she's pregnant, but he ends up finding out, and of course hilarity ensues. And yeah, it's just a story of them kind of coming together, and it's a really, really good book. I think I'll probably read it again in the years coming, because it's that good, and it's just a fun read. Okay, so the next book I want to talk about is An English Bride in Scotland by Lynsay Sands. I just was really in the mood to read kind of a Highlander, Outlander type book. And this one really surprised me. I had never read a Lynsay Sands book before, and I'm so glad I did, because now I feel like I have this new author, well, new to me, that I can go back and read her whole catalog of books. So I love finding new authors that I love. So this book is about Annabelle. She's the heroine, and she's lived the last 14 years of her life in an abbey. She's planning on becoming a nun. She's 21 now. She's about to become a nun, and her mother kind of shows up out of nowhere and says, come on, you have to come home. And she hasn't seen her mother that whole time, 14 years. She was just shipped off to the abbey one day when she was like 6. So what happened is her older sister ran away with the stable master's son. And so now she has to marry the guy that her sister was planning on marrying, because him and her father kind of had this deal where their kids were going to marry. So now he's on his way to collect his bride, and she's nowhere to be found. So they go get their other daughter out of the abbey and tell her, she has to marry this guy. So the hero his name's Ross, and he's coming, thinking he's marrying the first daughter. He ends up marrying her, and it's kind of just about their love story. And the drama is kind of that she keeps being attacked, and they don't know why she's being attacked, trying to be kidnapped. And so yeah, it's really good. I would strongly recommend it. It was a sweet, cute, easy read, and it was perfect. It's exactly what I wanted. Okay, so the last book I want to talk about is Iron Gold by Pierce Brown. This is the 4th book in the Red Rising series. And just a little backstory. So the Red Rising series is my favorite book series of all time. I think they are fantastic, just beyond amazing. So when I first heard that the trilogy, the original series, was going to get more books, I was excited, because, your favorite series is getting more books. That's amazing. Well, then I thought about it more, and I got worried, because when you read a series, you develop strong feelings for the characters, and you want to see them, make it out okay, be happy. And I was very happy with how Morningstar 3rd book ended. So I was worried that, not that this wasn't going to be amazing, because I knew it's written by Pierce Brown, it's going to be amazing. But I worried that these characters that I've grown to love and care about, you know, I guess I was able to naively think, oh, you know, they made it out of book 3 okay. They'll live happily ever after. Or if not happily, then at least they lived. You know, I was able to be at peace with that. So I was worried that they wouldn't make it out of this. Like, they survived all that hell from the first 3 books, and now they're not going to make it. So I didn't want it to taint my feelings about the first 3 books because I love them so much. It's my favorite series. So with that being said, I read it and I loved it. And while I still don't know, because I mean there's more books, I still don't know if my favorite characters are going to make it out alive. It's still such a great book, and the new characters, I've fallen in love with them too. You have, this book's actually told from 4 different narrators. So you have Darrow, which if you read the first 3 books you should know. And then you also have Lysander, which you get his point of view. Also Lyria, she's a red, you know what that means. And then you have Ephraim, you kind of get his point of view. And I love the new characters. I mean, I just feel like he's added on to the original in such a great way. And yeah, I couldn't recommend reading this series enough. It's so good, so good. But you are going to get attached very easily. I mean, within the first, you know, 20 pages, I was attached to these new people. And I think it's a great writer that can make you be that attached to people you're just being introduced to. But it's such great writing. And yeah, amazing book, amazing way to start out the year of reading. Iron Gold. Okay guys, that's my top January reads. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you stay tuned for more videos. Bye!